Well, everything that you see behind this white line here behind me is Idlib province. Now, this is the area in the south of Idlib today that's come under intense shelling from Russian and regime planes, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Those regime and Russian attacks coming both in the south of Idlib and in the north of Hama. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights say targeting rebel-held areas inside of Idlib. But this escalation coming just a day after you had the meeting between Turkey, Iran and Russia under the banner of the Astana process to try and talk about what humanitarian groups and Turkey have been calling a possible humanitarian catastrophe if an all-out offensive were to take place in Idlib. But just one day after those talks, we've seen intense shelling, as we said, in the south of Idlib province behind us here and also in the north of Hama.
As you say, it was only yesterday that the leaders of Turkey, Iran and Russia met to try and avoid the bloodbath in Idlib. It seems that advice or that meeting was completely ignored. So where does that leave any sort of negotiation?
Well, I think what's really important here is to highlight the plight of the civilians. What Turkey has warned repeatedly is that they don't want to see, and we heard President Erdogan reiterate this yesterday at the meeting, they don't want to see what he called a fait accompli, the regime try and take back Idlib's territory under the pretext of countering terrorism. Civilians in Idlib are caught between a very difficult situation right now. On the one side, there are rebel groups that are linked to al-Qaeda factions operating on the ground. But on the other side, they've got the regime that they've been resisting for 8 years. And so they're in a very dangerous situation right now. I want to just show you what Turkey talks about, though, when it means a humanitarian catastrophe. When you have the talks of these rebel factions that are linked to al-Qaeda, you're talking between 10,000 to 30,000 fighters. Idlib province that you're seeing right now has some 2.9 million civilians. What you're seeing right here, right now, is a refugee camp, a refugee camp, a refugee camp. Everywhere you're seeing those white and blue tents, those are refugees that have fled other areas of fighting in Syria to Idlib for safety. Idlib province was supposed to be a de-escalation zone already. That meeting yesterday in Iran didn't really come out with anything new. And again today, we've seen Russia and the regime carrying out strikes on this area where the warning is that attacking this area that does have those rebel factions that all sides agree should not be operating in the area is not a justification for targeting an area that is so heavily filled with civilians.